Last June I made a video on Nickelodeon's Double Dare revival, asking whether or not it would succeed to their liking. Season 2 premieres later today. Need I say more? But to be fair, let's take a look at the criticism the show gathered over the last year, as well as the comments on my video. But before that, it's time to dive deeper into the making and production of Nickelodeon's new Double Dare. Hosted by Liza Koshy and announced by former series host Mark Summers, two teams that answer questions and compete in physical challenges while trying to gain as much cash as possible in hopes to run through the obstacle course. In the self-proclaimed domestiest game show on TV, the show starts off with Liza counting down the two teams with a phrase used in every single episode.
On your mark, get set, go!
Both teams are sent off playing a toss-up game. Liza watches over the two teams center stage while Mark is off to the side of the stage at a podium sharing the game's rules. Liza then commentates the game, keeping the viewers up to date with progress. Once the game ends, Mark welcomes the viewers to the show and introduces the host, Liza. The two have a brief back and forth, usually involving a pun or two, before Liza introduces both teams for the episode. Starting with the blue team, she talks with the players for a little bit to find out a bit more about them. Liza then shifts the focus to the red team, letting them share more about themselves. She then explains the basic rules of the game. In the first round, a correct question is worth $50. If the team in control doesn't know the answer, they can dare the opposing team, doubling the question's value to $100. Now, if that team doesn't know the answer, they can always double dare the question back for 4 times the value, a whopping $200. They then have to either answer the question or take a physical challenge. The team that wins the toss-up challenge also wins $50 and control the game, meaning they are asked the first question. That team continues to answer questions until they lose control of the game, such as giving a wrong answer or losing in a physical challenge. Speaking of, if a team picks physical challenge, they are brought to center stage while Mark shares the answer with the viewers. He and Liza share another fun-pilled exchange while the set is ready for the challenge. Once the set and contestants are dressed, Liza then explains the game for them and the viewers. One example has the two contestants standing under shower heads with a funnel and pool noodle, trying to fill that pool noodle with as much water as they can, then running over to a shared container with a marked line above it. They have to try and fill that container above that marked line within a time limit. If the team successfully completes that challenge, they keep control of the game and win $200. If they don't, the cash and control go to their opponent's team. This repeats until a buzzer sounds, signaling the end of the round. The team scores are recapped before the show goes to a commercial break. Coming back from the break, Liza recaps the scores for the viewers and sends the teams off on another toss-up game. Everything in this round is doubled, so the winning team of the toss-up game gains $100 in control of round 2. Dares are now worth $200, with double dares and physical challenges being worth $400. The team with the most cash at the end of this round keeps their earnings and is sent to the obstacle course. The same pattern of questions, dares, double dares, and physical challenges are repeated until the end of round 2. The winning team is announced, the losing team's prizes are shared, and the camera then pans to show the obstacle course before the show goes on another commercial break. Coming back from the break reveals the other half of the set. With the audience moved behind this half-circle shaped stand, the camera settles on Liza and the winning team dressed in protective gear near the first set piece. She congratulates them on having making it this far and earning however much they have made up to this point. The players must make their way through as many of the 8 set pieces as possible and finishing each by grabbing a bright orange flag and passing it off before moving to the next set piece. The player not playing the obstacle may not help in any way physically, other than turning the wheel for the roller set piece for some reason, but they can help their teammate by pointing at the flag if needed. Not if, but when needed. We've all seen the show. Liza then explains each set piece for the viewers, with Mark sharing the prize the team will win for completing that obstacle.
A Yard Games gift card, this package of 3 Rio Grande games, the Hobby's own T-28 Trojan ass learn to fly with Ion Audio Karaoke Star. A chance to experience the power of flight at iFlight, where you can enjoy a sense of freedom you've never known. A $500 bedroom makeover.
This continues all the way through all 8, with the last set piece being Mount St. Double Dare, and the grand prize usually being some trip to space camp or a vacation somewhere. Once finished, the team is ready to play before being sent off. An on-screen and on-set 60-second timer counts down as the contestants run through the set with the audience cheering them on. Whether they win or not, they're brought to center stage with Liza and Mark joining them to congratulate them on their earnings with a final cash total. And following a sign-off, the show then cuts to credits. As for the production, I was lucky enough to go to a taping of 3 episodes earlier last week, and it was a blast. Now, I really don't know much about the casting process as I wasn't on it, though I do know that they started casting in early January, which makes sense as they are filming in late February and early March, as the show is premiering today on March 11th. Now, when I got to set on show day, it was very interesting. You had the main set with the screen, the 2 teams, the podium, and Mark's podium off to the side, and it was really close. I've been to several other tapings of shows, and there's usually a large distance between the edge of the set and where the audience starts, because you need to have the cameras there, and there really wasn't that much space. And it turns out they were filming in a different studio than when they filmed season 1, and they lost some space there, and they extended the audience section by a little bit, so you lost a lot of room there. So everything was very cram-packed in there, but it worked somehow. And then to the right of the main set and audience was the whole obstacle course arena setup, where you had Mount St. Double there permanently, as well as this new obstacle called the Slime Squeeze. I'm pretty sure it's the Slime Squeeze. And behind that was the big audience ring where everyone sat, though except for a certain spot illuminated in green right behind that Slime Squeeze. Now imagine a Capri Sun, but really big and full of slime. That's what it was. All the contestant does is run up, give it a big ol' squeeze, and then everyone is covered in slime behind it. Slime just squirts out of the straw and it covers them as well as the contestant, and the flag is up atop that straw and it's thrown off, and they have to go and find it while covered in slime. It's great, I love seeing it. So aside from those 2 permanent set pieces, I'm assuming that throughout the other 20-something episodes shot for this season, all the other set pieces are rotated out. And speaking of rotated out, one of them that was not rotated out was Mount St. Double. But this isn't last season's Mount St. Double, that's nothing. This season's was huge. Imagine the jump from the Aggro Crag to the Super, then the Mega Crag, something like that. So it wasn't completely redone, except for the fact it was. I don't want to say it was steeper, as I didn't get to see the first one in person, but it was much bigger. And it wasn't just the smooth, slime-covered mat that they had to climb up with a rope. It was actually textured with foam, squishy foam. They had to run, climb up, and then grab the flag, and then slide down on their back covered in slime. And while I can't say too much about the episodes that I saw taping, other than they were the Halloween week 2, 3, and 4 episodes, I did get to see the finale of that. Just seeing Mount St. Double in person and seeing it covered in slime with people trying to climb it was fantastic. I really do like this new version of it. Now, having been to tapings of other shows, I know that a half-hour show is in fact shorter than half an hour because of commercials, but that it also takes longer than half an hour to shoot because of downtime and set changes. But I would not have guessed that an episode of Double Dare takes 2 hours to 2.5 hours to shoot. And that's crazy to me. I just didn't think it took that long to clean the set, and then to put together the physical challenges, and then to play it, move it out of the way, clean it again. It just seems all fast, and when I heard that, like, oh, there's no way it takes 2 hours. And then we taped the first episode, and it took 2 hours, and I was stunned. But I'm super happy I got to go. Now, speaking of that first episode, here is how it kind of played out. Now, I got there early enough to talk with a few of the workers there, people working on the show, and it was very interesting. And it wasn't that long before the audience was brought in, and this was like I was back working at a church in the kids' room. Just imagine 100 kids of all different ages, from like 3 to 14, filling this studio, and it was crazy. And I might have counted even 20 parents. Like, not that many. It was a tiny ratio, but they were all shoved to the back, because they want to show kids. This is Nickelodeon, of course. And then the audience warm-up guy came out, and he had this awesome jacket that I need to find. I need this jacket. If I find it while I'm editing, I'll put it up right now, but this is so cool. So yeah, the audience warm-up guy came out, he talked with the audience, kept them energized, got them ready, told them when to clap, told them not when to clap, and then shortly after, Mark Summers and Liza Koshy came out. They interacted with the audience a little bit, and then the contestants came out. They prepped for the toss-up game to start off the game, and it went like that. But there were a few bumps. I thought it'd be much smoother. Again, I didn't know what to expect. So they came out, dimmed the lights, had Liza do the start of the show, and then they went immediately into the challenge. And the challenge went really fast. So the challenge ended, contestants started to walk back to the podiums, and they stopped. And they kind of cleaned them up so that they wouldn't look completely a mess during their beginning part where they chatted with Liza and let the viewers at home learn a bit more about them. And while doing that, they actually didn't clean the set fully. which was pretty interesting. They only take away the tall objects on the set. So if there's anything blocking the view for certain cameras, they just remove those. And then they immediately pick up filming because it takes so long. And then they play that way until a physical challenge is played. So they go immediately into the interview, and those interviews are much longer than it shows on screen because they need to give the editors enough time to be able to go with short questions or long questions if they need to fill time or make the episode shorter. And then from there, like I said, Liza explains it to the viewers and the contestants, but the contestants already know this. And then they went immediately into that part of the questions and dares and double dares and physical challenges part of the show with the two teams. And it went like that until one of the teams inevitably picked physical challenge, where they started to walk around their podium, went off screen, and they yelled to cut. Then the team came in, swept the floors, made it completely clean, and then brought in the physical challenge pieces, prepped the contestants, so it's a little different from the first season, and then they picked up from there. So from there, Liza and Mark are just talking a little bit. They explain what's happening, have Liza count them down, on your mark, get set, go, and they play until the physical challenge is over, and as soon as it is, the contestants start to walk back, they undress the contestants, and again, they leave the set as it is, whether they need to clean it or not, only removing the tall things from the set. The cameras can still have good lines of sight on everyone, and they continue. And they continued like that until a Halloween-y type sound, at which point the round ended, they went to commercial. And then they cleaned the set, prepped it immediately for that toss-up game, and filmed that, and repeated again. And some of the physical challenges that were fast, that they could clean up easy, they only took like 15 minutes to do. From setup, to playing, to cleaning up, really fast. Others took a bit longer, like half an hour it seemed like. That was crazy to me. And they played like that up through the end of round 2, at which point sound would end, they would go to commercial break, and they would start loading in the audience to that whole area, the other side of the stage, at which point they would brief the contestants on each obstacle. They'd walk them through each and every one, all 8, explaining what to do, how to do it, what not to do, where to do, or what to do with the flag. In this case, all they have to do, they don't have to pass it to another, they just have to try and toss it into a bucket near the obstacle, or that's what I overheard. It seems like they don't need to make it in, it's just, here's the flag, it's over here, don't worry about it, just keep playing the game. That's what I overheard. And while they were doing that, some cameras were going around to all the different obstacles, getting B-roll, just so that they could have things to intercut the show with. So then they start shooting the obstacle course chunk, where they have a nice jib shot showing off the whole set. They go to Liza and the contestants, they talk for a little bit. Mark Summers comes out from hiding behind the slime squeeze, and he explains all the obstacles for the episode. From there, he sends it back over to Liza, and Liza's with the contestants, with the first one getting ready to do whatever the obstacle is. She counts them down, on your mark, get set, go, and they're off. And whether they win or not, they meet back up at the base of Mount St. Double Dare, shoot a little thing saying goodbye, telling people to tune in for the next episode in that tournament, and it goes from there to commercial break. And from there, they did a few pickups here and there and loaded the audience back as we do 2 episodes, lunch, and then a 3rd and final episode for the day. And from there, that second episode was a bit long. I believe I overheard the camera ops saying after we shot the obstacle course for that second episode, saying that it was somewhere over 8 minutes long for their allotted 22.5 minutes per episode without commercials. So I feel bad for those editors. And coming back from lunch, like I said, they cycled out the audience for a new one. We have a morning audience and then an afternoon audience, I guess. Bring them in for that 3rd and final episode, tape the episode. That one didn't run as long, which is good. And that was the finale episode, so I can't say anything without spoiling it, but all I will say is, oh my god, I was screaming, and I did get to see a PA or stagehand just coated in slime. He tried to hide down by a camera thinking he was okay, and there was a certain set piece that shoots out slime when contestants go down it. It was the first one, and the contestant jumps in, slides down, and the slime just misses the contestant, and instead coats this stage, this poor guy, head to toe in slime. And if I was almost standing where he was earlier in the day, and I am glad I decided to stand where I did, which was a foot back. or else I would have just been covered in slime. The camera next to him, just from the lens down, below the lens luckily, but from the lens down, I believe a little bit on the camera up. It was amazing. He wasn't happy though. And then the ending was something to watch for sure. And that's all I can say about the taping. I can't really give anything else away, as I know a certain network executive might be watching this. And all I can say is that I really hope it gets picked up for a third season. I did overhear that this whole second season isn't really a normal season. It's more of a bunch of runs of specials, or like a week-long special of like 4 or 5 episodes that'll run, and it's more tournament style than just season 1 normal, each episode is standalone style, which is something to be interested in. In my last video on Double Dare, I asked whether or not it would flop like the Legends film did, or if it would succeed, kind of like My Family's Got Guts in my opinion. And as I said, it has succeeded immensely, to the point where they made I can't say that phrase on YouTube, a big game, important football day episode on Nick, and that went really well. As well as making a second season of just specials. If Nick thinks that the show is going to succeed that well, that they're placing their money on doing a whole second season just on specials, then I would believe him. And the only critiques I could really find on this new series, this new revival of Double Dare, were about Liza Koshy herself hosting. And most of them were just saying she doesn't fit the role, or she can't beat Mark Summers, and she doesn't need to. It's a new show, it's a new host, and she does fantastic at it. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of Liza Koshy. I don't watch her stuff on YouTube. I haven't seen her YouTube Premium show yet, though I have been meaning to. And having seen her in person on Double Dare hosting this, and the way she interacts with the contestants and the audience, she does a fantastic job, and I don't think anyone can do better today than she did. So yeah, keep going, Liza. You're doing great. So I think it goes without saying that this Double Dare revival is what Nick wanted. And hopefully this means good news for people who wanted more Double Dare-ish or Double Dare era revival, such as a Nick Arcade hosted by MatPat, maybe? That's what I'm personally hoping for. I feel like he'd be a good fit for the role. Plus, Nickelodeon recently announced that they're remaking Are You Smarter Than a 5th Grader for their network. So game shows might be making a place back on Nickelodeon. If so, I'm really hoping they bring back some of the others like Guts and Legends, and my personal favorite, Nick Arcade. So hopefully, I will soon in the future be making a video about MatPat hosting Nick Arcade. Who knows? Put in the comments down below what show you hope Nickelodeon brings back and who you think should host it. I already gave you mine, I can't wait to read what you say. Anyway, that's all I have for today. This video is already like 40 minutes long. It's gonna be so much fun to edit, especially because I'm shooting it the night before the series premieres. Oh boy! I should get to it. I'll see you in the next one. Isaac, signing off.